Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We're tackling something today that, well, it's close to home for a lot of us, I think. The Oakland Hills fire.
Yeah, it's hard to even think about that area without, the 91 firestorm coming to mind.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, even the smallest fire there just it triggers this wave of
Oh,
anxiety,
absolutely.
and understandably so.
Yeah, and this wasn't exactly a small fire from the looks of it. People were posting these photos online, massive smoke plumes visible for miles.
Yeah, it's become almost instinct now, right? Something like this happens and immediately everyone's checking what Twitter, Reddit, local news, and it's not just for, the official updates, it's for that firsthand experience, the raw emotion you get from people who are actually there.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get that visceral sense of what it was like in those moments. I saw one comment, someone described the eucalyptus trees burning like, get this, Roman candles,
Oh,
which,
wow.
really drives home the intensity, the speed of these fires.
Yeah, and that speed is it's key. And you see that reflected in how people were talking about the fire online too. That sense of urgency, the sometimes, conflicting reports about containment.
Right, right. It's like we're getting information from, well, everywhere. Official reports, people on the ground, expert analysis. It's like we're almost crowdsourcing fire intelligence, but with incredibly high stakes.
Exactly, and it's happening in real time. I even saw someone mention they had dash cam footage that showed there wasn't a fire at 1:30 p.m., which, could actually be really helpful for figuring out the timeline of how things unfolded.
Wow.
People are using flight trackers, live stream maps, even those what are they called, ADSB exchange websites to
Yeah.
track the firefighting aircraft.
See, that's what I mean. It's incredible. But it also seems like, well, a lot. How are officials supposed to keep up with this constant stream of information,
Yeah.
especially when it's not always accurate?
Yeah, you've hit on a really important point there. This flow of real-time information, it's valuable, but it can also easily outpace the official channels.
Right.
Like agencies like CAL FIRE, they're crucial for providing verified information. But in those first few hours, sometimes it's the people on the ground who have the most up-to-date view of what's happening.
That makes sense. So then how do we, as people following along, how do we reconcile those different perspectives? Because I was noticing some people online were saying the fire was contained based on what they were seeing, even though official reports were lagging behind.
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it? And we're seeing it play out right now with this fire. Like you'll have CAL FIRE reporting 13 acres with 0% containment,
Hmm.
and then you'll have someone on Twitter declaring victory because they see a little less smoke.
That's actually kind of chilling. Yeah. Like we're almost watching two different versions of the fire unfold online. So I don't know. Does this mean we need like better real-time information from officials, or are we asking too much given how unpredictable these wildfires could be?
Yeah, it's a tough question, honestly. You've got this incredible speed, right? This reach of citizen reporting. It gives us this valuable like on the ground awareness. But then on the other hand, you have, well, the potential for misinformation is just huge. And that can really hinder the response efforts.
For sure. And it really underscores that need for critical thinking. You know what I mean? We can't just take every tweet and every Reddit post as gospel. But at the same time, how do you balance that with the fear, the urgency that people are feeling when there's a fire, raging right nearby?
Right. It's about finding that balance, trusting the official sources for those verified updates, but also acknowledging that those firsthand accounts, they have value. It's just got to verify, cross-reference, look for multiple sources saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, trust but verify.
Hmm.
Although maybe in this case, it's more like monitor closely and verify repeatedly.
Exactly. And, with all this talk about about real-time information and everything, we can't forget about the human element to all of this. I saw this one comment, someone who was actually there during the 91 fire, they were drawing a direct comparison saying that they thought the evacuation orders this time, they seemed to have come too late for some residents.
Oh,
And they even shared this story about having to abandon their car back in 91, and they
yeah.
had to rely on a complete stranger to escape the flames.
Gosh, that just gives me chills. It's just this stark reminder of how fast these situations can change
Yeah.
and how high the stakes are, especially in a place like the Oakland Hills where, I mean, the 91 firestorm, it's still so vivid in people's minds.
It is, and it speaks to that lasting impact that these events have, on individuals and entire communities. It makes sense that any sign of smoke in that area, it's going to trigger those memories, those fears.
Yeah.
And it's something that emergency responders have to deal with too.
Plus, they're not just fighting the fire itself, but also those echoes of past traumas.
Exactly. It makes their job that much more complex, trying to balance that immediate response with long-term preparedness. Especially now, with climate change, these events are just becoming more frequent, more intense.
And that actually brings us to another big takeaway from all of this.
Hmm.
Preparedness.
Yeah.
We saw that come up a lot in the comments, people talking about go bags and things like that. For those who might not be familiar, can you explain what that is?
Sure. So a go bag, it's basically just a bag that you pack ahead of time. You put all the essential stuff you might need if you had to evacuate. Important documents, medications, some clothes, maybe some food that won't spoil. The idea is to have it ready to go, at a moment's notice. So you're not scrambling when it really matters.
Which, as we've seen with this fire, can literally be, well, a matter of life or death.
Exactly. And it's not just about having the bag, it's about having a plan. Like, where will you go? How are you going to get there? Who do you need to get in touch with? These are all things you have to think about, before a fire even starts.
Yeah, it's like, are you reacting or are you responding? And it seems like from what we're seeing online, it's a little bit of both right now. Some people, they had their go bags ready to go, and others were, they were trying to figure out what to do, where to even go.
Exactly. And it just shows you we need to be doing more to get people ready. More education, more communication, especially with more and more communities facing these risks. Like, remember that commenter who mentioned the cleared ground, how it actually helps slow the fire down?
Oh, right, right.
That's not just luck, that's planning ahead, creating that, what do they call it, a defensible space around your property.
Right, yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier about adapting to living in these fire-prone areas. You can't just, cross your fingers and hope for the best. You got to be ready for when things go bad.
Exactly. And it's on all of us too. Like, homeowners, we got to take those steps to protect our homes, create that defensible space. But our communities need to do their part too. Investing in things like, clearing brush, those early warning systems, having an evacuation plan.
Yeah, it's about being prepared individually, but also as a community.
Exactly, building that resilience. And, this fire in the Oakland Hills, it might be contained now, but it's started this whole conversation
Wow.
about wildfires, about climate change, and that conversation, that's not going away anytime soon.
That's for sure. So as we're wrapping up our deep dive here, is there one big takeaway you hope our listeners really hold on to?
I think it's this. We're in a new world when it comes to wildfires. Technology is changing everything, how we experience these events, how we respond to them. We have more information than ever before, but that comes with its own set of challenges. Like, how do you know what's accurate? How do you make sense of all these different reports? And how do you deal with that anxiety of knowing what's happening in real time? We have to be smart, we have to think critically, and most importantly, we have to be proactive. We have to prepare ourselves, prepare our communities for this new reality of living with wildfire.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here with us today. And to everyone listening, stay safe, stay informed, and stay prepared.